fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors and the Breakfast Bankroll. It's Sunday, it's fun day, and for some that woke up a little hungover, looking at me, and then getting ready to dive back into it because it's the last day of the week, and I'm not paying the man. Well, that's what most of the public and the D-Gens say. But if you were following us here yesterday on our Saturday debut, you had a hell of a day. And we're back today to try to help you cash some more tickets, give you some more insight. And that's what we're here. We're here to educate, not entertain. If we do say a few jokes, you can chuckle along with us. But our main goal is just to give you the insight on what we are seeing to try to help you better invest and wager today and hopefully cash some tickets. So without further ado, my co-host from the Palm Tree State himself, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, what is up?
Morning, Jeff. I changed the little viewpoint here. I'm at a different angle today because I got 17 spreadsheets pulled up on the computer. And when I put the other camera and all the stuff there, I can't see all the stuff. So I'm a little bit at a different angle. So I'm going to turn my head a little bit today.
Well, we like to say here, we're the NASA of sports information. Myself here, I got the 35-inch monitors. I got the laptop, Don Best to the left, Sports Insights, Wager Talk to the right, flipping back and forth like a breakfast cook flipping your eggs in the morning or something. But that's what we're here for, and that's what we love to do here. Recap yesterday, a crazy day in college sports. I love the kids, whether it's college football, college basketball. I think you get the best bang for your buck with the kids. I always talk and preach about NFL, especially Sunday. It's any given Sunday. These are paid professional athletes. I don't care if you're 17-point underdogs today, like Houston. I've seen it happen. Trust me. Where they out of nowhere they pick them off. I was in a suicide pool a dozen years ago, maybe. Pittsburgh Steelers were 17-point favorites against Houston Oilers or something back then, and they controlled the yardage 400 to like 100, and I was down to the final 33 out of 1,000. I mean, getting ready to cash some big money, and of course Houston won outright. So the crash was there. But talk about yesterday and what you saw, what you told the world, and how you did.
Well, yesterday we started out playing baseball, and one of the things that we talked about yesterday was Shane Baz. And we talked about the Tampa Bay Rays and being able to be in the right spot. And one of the things that I don't think people really realized yesterday, and I didn't say it, and I should have, because I thought about it. The Rays are at 99 wins, Jeff. They're trying to get to 100. So at this point, they won their 100th game. We talked about the day before, Brandon Lau, he was sitting the bench, resting. It's not because, he's a bad player. They just rested him. He had 6 RBIs yesterday. So, if you pay attention and you really dig a little deep into what's going on, you can find the spots to wager on. And yesterday was the spot to be on the Rays. So we won that game. I don't think that's the way to go today, but that was the way to go yesterday. So then we started really banging out some college football, and I introduced some stuff EPA wise. And one of the things that is interesting with the EPA, you can't just. So let's just preface it this way: any time that I tell you a number or a data point or a this stat or a that or whatever it is, I'm using probably information that the general public doesn't even know exists. But that being said, I also try to back that up and support that information with years of handicapping, right? So you're not just throwing a damn number up there and going bet on this number. Well, yesterday I threw out 5 plays and I scratched 2. And we had Boston College, we had Cincinnati, we had Texas, we had Michigan on the money line, all won. And the only loser that we had yesterday was Boise State, and we were 4-1, and one of the scratches was Kentucky. So when we talked about that, scratch. So EPA is a good gauge in college football. It's not a bad gauge in pro football. I'm going to talk about it a little bit today. I'm not going to use it as much as I did yesterday, but it's one of those things that when you can gauge point performance, play by play, and series by series, why wouldn't you want to try to put that into your handicapping portfolio?
There's no doubt. And hats off to Kelly Stewart, Kelly in Vegas, now at Barstools. Good friends of hers. Back-to-back weeks, she likes to put together a 3-dog parlay, outright winners. And yesterday she comes rolling in on the second straight week and cashes a big one. Top of my head, I think she had Nevada, Texas Tech, and Kentucky. When we talked about the Boise State Nevada game, I thought Nevada was trending towards one of those public trendy dogs, just like Kentucky. It seemed like Kentucky was a name that was all over social media, but there were a ton of dogs out there. What really stuck out to me, and we didn't talk about it on the show, and I had it in my notes, was Texas Tech. Their defense, again, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. And I watched that game the week ago where West Virginia battled to the last second against Oklahoma. Their defense was off the charts. But especially with the kids, 7 days to get back to that level is almost impossible. You get to peak performance, and now you got a week to live that and now try to get back there. And it's real hard, especially with the kids.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it yesterday. We really kind of defined the difference between college football and pro football, and the most simplest analysis that you can put together is that college football is an emotional sport. These are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, and they're not professionals. And we talked about the gaps in performances and abilities between players and teams. The NFL doesn't have that. They have gaps, but they're not very big. And because they're professionals, they got another game next week. They got 17 of them this year, and it's a professionally run organization, I guess, unless you're play for certain teams. But the reality of it is that the emotional piece in professional football has its ups and downs, but those valleys are smaller. And when you perform to peak, it's just like in baseball. If you have a guy that goes out and throws a no-hitter, or he throws 2-hit shutout, he's not going to do that next week. And it's the same thing in college football. If you have a peak performance, that's it. That's the best they can do. So don't expect a team to do the best they can do week to week to week to week, because it doesn't work like that. I think a lot of people, I always say the term robots, but I think a lot of people forget that these are human beings that wake up and their toe hurts, and they got some weird thing going out of their ear, and their arm fell off throwing the baseball and whatever. So they don't have peak performances week to week, day to day, all that stuff. It doesn't work like that. So there's going to be ups and downs and valleys. And then, when you start to go back and analyze everything, the analysis comes from the average of what they've done over the course of the time. So football, I'm going to teach a little different strategy to a degree, but baseball, I always talk about, what has a pitcher done in his last 30 days? What does an offense does in his last 7 days? What does a bullpen do in the last 14 days? Because who cares what they did in April now? It doesn't matter where you're in October and September. So when you analyze a player, a lot of times you're looking at the wrong data, because the data tells you what they did in April and May, and nobody cares what they did in April and May. We're in September and October. That's where it is. Football works a little bit the same way, but those numbers, you got to be real careful because it's a rolling, like in the NFL, it's a rolling 6 weeks. You need to know what that team's doing over the last 6 weeks or 4 weeks in some cases. And then, it's like my conflict today is the Carolina Panthers. They played nobody. Well, I shouldn't say that. They played New Orleans once, but Dallas has played great teams. And do you buy into Carolina? Is this good, or are they only good because their data points show great because they played the Jets and stuff like that? So that's where you really got to figure out what you're doing and kind of figure out what's real and what's not. And in college football, man, if you played a great game 1 week, that you don't necessarily going to play a great, and then you have that high that they fall off and they have that low, and then okay, they can build back up kind of because it's homecoming even, and a lot of people don't even know when homecoming is for these teams, and that's a big deal for college kids.
I wouldn't be doing our show any justice. Hats off to my Boston Red Sox. Guaranteed at worst playing tomorrow. That's guaranteed at worst. Wow, what a game yesterday! 1-0, then 1-1. Take a 2-1 lead, and then get fortunate enough to get a couple more. Thank God, because they gave up 2 in the ninth. Rays take care of business. We'll spend 2 seconds on this. Sox with Sale today. Again, some people were wondering why Sale's pitching or was scheduled to pitch. I guess if the perfect storm, they would have been able to save him. But I think they're okay with would it be Pavetta? Not Pavetta. Evaldi. So Sale's opened at -220, currently at -195 versus Adone for Washington. Your Rays and Yankees, Walker versus Talion. Yankees opened up at 143, now 121. And Seattle, big win yesterday. Detmers versus Anderson. Seattle opened up at 170, now 163. So correct me if I'm wrong here. Sox win, Yankees lose, Seattle win. Yankees play Seattle on Monday, and then the winner comes to Fenway on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean it's they got to have a play-in game for that last spot because they tie. I think that there's a lot of variance here that I think the team that's outside looking in is the Blue Jays. I think that when you really kind of start to look at what's going on here, the Red Sox get the lowly Nationals, if you want to call them that. But even though they're a little surprising team at times, but they're not getting their best pitchers. I think that the Blue Jays got the Orioles at the right time. And boy, the Yankees have had to go, and they had to play the Red Sox and then the Blue Jays and now the Rays to try to make it to the playoffs. Now, granted, you play those teams, that means you control your own destiny to get there. And they did okay with the other two, but for whatever reason, they're struggling against the Rays this season. But I think today is a different day for the Yankees today.
No, I agree with that as well. Going to be interesting. I know we got a lot of people here watching, actually. Thank you, guys. If you're not following us on Twitter, go to EC Sports Invest or Webby20 MLB. Follow us. We'll follow you back. If you have any questions, DM us. We'll answer them right here on the air. What I wanted to do is I wanted to give everyone the overnight notes from last night to this morning, just so they have an understanding what we saw, and then might be able to help out some people in the long run here. And this was just strictly overnight here. Minnesota, Sharp and Steam currently a pick'em now at South Point and +1 at the Vegas Strip. You can grab Carolina now +4. They were 4.5. Sharps grabbed the hook with the Giants at +7.5, now 7 on the Strip. There are some 6.5s now on the Eagles. KC was stuck on 7 all week, but some Sharps came in and grabbed the 7, now with 6.5. This is a very intriguing game. I'm going to tell a lot of people the numbers aren't ending up here. Rams opened up at 6, now currently at 4 with Kyler and company coming into town, but the team totals don't add up. So the public is seeing the 6-4, but if you take a look, Vegas is standing tall with the 30-23 final here. We'll get into that. Ravens and Broncos now a pick 'em. You talked about teams that have played no one, 0-zip. Okay, the Broncos opened up at the Giants, then they traveled to the Jags, then they got the Jets. Okay, and then in come the Ravens off of a 66-yard field goal at Detroit. Surprised at the opening line, Denver -1.5. Lamar had some back issues, didn't practice for 2 days. He's a go. He's ready. Now we'll pick him there. The shops finally waited and waited and waited. They pounced on the Steelers last night. It was 6.5 all week, now 6. I talked about it to our ECSI VIP group. I think the Steelers are real dangerous today, and even a plus 260 on that money line, a little sprinkle we like to say there. And then the Pats stuck on 7 all week. I saw a $500,000 bet last night on the Pats plus 7. They finally dropped it to 6.5. We're using the Super Bowl theory here, and it's very simple. This line opened up at 5.5 and 50.5. Okay, Vegas knows what the hell they're doing. Okay, so we got this Bucks 27, Pats 23. Any Bucks ticket that was 5.5 or better will be a loss. It stays under, and then the Pats team total is 21 and a hook. Again, I think if they get to 23-24, they cover. A plus 240 on the money line, a little sprinkle beer and pizza money. That was some of the analysis that we talked to our group this morning before we came on live. Scotty, what you saying?
All right, so I see a lot of different things here, and there's some different stuff that I wanted to talk about. That Dallas game and the Carolina game is one of the ones I wanted to talk about because what do you believe, right? So Dallas has played these better teams. Carolina has played more or less a softer schedule, although they did play New Orleans. So what you have to do is you got to put your money where your mouth is sometimes. So one of the things that I did today was kind of break this down and go, how does Carolina match up to what Dallas offers, right? So Carolina is the number 1 team in the NFL in defense on EPA. So when you start to break it down, and then you look at where these teams and EPA in NFL is way different than it is in college football in a sense that it's way more heavily weighted to pass defense. Nobody cares if they can run the football anymore. So it's all about how you throw the ball and how to move the ball down the field. And one of the things that I kind of looked at here too is Dallas's defense is a little better than what people think it is. You know, we've been talking about that before. Looking at, just from the beginning of the season, we talked about how good Dallas's offense was. But nobody in that division can play defense. And we thought Washington can play defense, but you watch them play, they don't play defense against anybody. So I think that Dallas is going to win that division by a long shot. But one of the things that, and Jeff, this is one of the teaching points that we're going to have to make, is these lines that come out are predicated based off of the season wins totals. And they have a percentage wins based number. So if you're going to win, say, let's just say it was a 16-game season, make math easy, and you win 8 games, you win 50% of your games. So you can turn that 50% into a money line, and then that money line turns into a point spread. So that point spread then can be utilized to determine what the line should be or shouldn't be, all based off of season total wins. So the book sets that stuff forward at the beginning of the season. And then as it goes prior to the season with the betting market coming in, that number changes based on the first set of lines that they put out because the betting market changed. That's where you come in. You analyze the betting market and you do all that stuff and figure out how these things go and why the lines are the way they are. But as the season progresses, as we're now into, what is this, week 4? So when we're into week 4 here, the reality is that the numbers have changed again. And these numbers change, and they don't change. I guess the biggest way to say this is that they don't change dramatically overnight. If a team was supposed to win 9 games on week 3, they're not going to be supposed to win 6 games coming out on week 4. It's not going to work that way. So when you make adjustments to a season total wins number, that's how the numbers are going to change, because it's a win percentage option. So one of the things that's kind of interesting here is that at the beginning of the season, Carolina's supposed to win a certain number of games. Well, now it's more because of the way they've played. And of course, they've only played, the Sisters of the Poor here. So as we get to moving forward, we have to look at this, and we have to really come down and go, where does it fall in and where does it happen? Well, my numbers say Dallas is a 3-point favorite today. And so that tells me a couple of things. That tells me, one, that Dallas is where they're supposed to be on the season win totals numbers. Carolina's moved up. Dallas is about the same as where they were, because they're 2-1. So as we kind of look at this, I kind of think of this as you have to start proving Carolina wrong before you have to sit there and go, you got to say that their work that they've put forth is thrown out the window because of who they played. We just spent, 5 minutes talking about college football and how college football is all based off of emotions and different other things, and how professional football, the gaps in teams and the gaps in players are smaller. People forget that. So even though they beat the Jets, and even though they beat the Giants, or whoever the heck else they've played, you got to give them credit for what they are doing and how they're doing it. And I think that there is a value here on the +4. And I think that's a good enough play that I actually wagered on it. So some of this stuff is kind of looking at it. So that Rams game you talked about, I think that, and one of the things that you're not going to hear me ever do is you're not going to hear me go, well, the Rams are 10-2 against the spread on Monday night in the middle of the night, and they played. This guy was the referee, and none of that stuff. You're never going to hear that. Trends are. Let me word this the right way. So you can have a trend, right? And a trend is just what it is. It's something that you've picked up over the course of data points that says X, Y, and Z, but it has nothing to do with today's game. So. And I get it that there's a lot of people that are out there that use trends, and they use that stuff, and they go, man, this is what I'm going to bet, right? So those trend players, I wish you luck. I don't think, and trust me when I tell you, I've done this for 25, 30 years now. I was a trend player when I first started, because that was the information that I had. Now that you have the ability to get to different information, you need to go and throw your trends away. Find new analysis, because the analysis that's available today will teach you more about how a football game is played than anything a trend is ever going to show you. And I know that there's these guys out there on their, from all these different popular places, and they say all this crazy stuff, and it all sounds great, but it's not true, real information. Okay. Go by what you see, go by what you can find on data points and where things are at. And you're going to find there's no way. So let's look at this game, right? So the Rams against the Cardinals. So the Cardinals are really good on defense. I think they rank, let me pull them up here because I got it right here in front of me. The Rams and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are ranked number 5 in defense EPA. But the reason that they rank number 5 in DPA is because they're really good on defense. But if you break, on pass defense, if you break that down, where they're successful, Jeff, they're successful against the long pass. Okay, well, what do the Rams do? Do they really throw the ball deep all the time? Did they watch the game where they played against Tampa Bay and you watched Cooper Kupp do these little hooks and little out routes and little over the middles and how many passes he was able to catch? And then the strategy between, do you really want to bet on whatever his name is? Can't say it. Kingsbury today. I don't want to bet on him, and especially when he's matched up against the offensive wizard for the Rams. The Rams, 5 last times they've played them, he's shown to beat them. The Rams have beat him every time they played him in the last 5 times they played him. Now, that's not a trend. That's just a statement. So don't. I'm not betting it because of that. I'm betting it because the data points don't match up for what Arizona can do in this game. So I'm taking the Rams -4, and I'm taking the Carolina Panthers +4. Those are the only 2 sides I bet. Now I bet some totals, and I got one teaser, but we can get into that. I just wanted to hit those things right now.
Well, I'm so glad that you're preaching, and I'm using the word preaching, tongue in cheek here. What we talk about here at ECSI, okay? Trends don't pay the rent; they don't pay the mortgage, okay? The logos or the names on the back of the shirts don't pay the bills. I could give a rat's ass about that stuff. Okay. We call them water cooler games. Okay. And this is what a water cooler game is. ESPN and Fox have that crawler, which we have right now on the bottom with our Vegas and Boston number. Feel free to give us a call. Okay. So, like you just said, and I'm making this up. Tampa Bay is 10-0 when traveling to the East Coast on Sundays, playing a game at after 4 o'clock or at 8 o'clock. So Johnny and Bill are in their cubicle and they go to the water cooler and they're like, holy shit, Scott, did you see this? Tampa is 10-0 when they're playing at 4 o'clock or later and playing on the East Coast. It's called a carrot. It gives the public and the degens a reason to bet. They go run to their window. They call up their local guy. They go to the barbershop. They go bang, 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 bang. And then the Bucks don't cover or they lose. And I always say, where was this the first 9 times? Okay, it's a carrot. It's a carrot. Guys, don't get, and I like saying this, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, will you? How many times are you going to fall for it? Anyways, this Arizona Rams game is real intriguing. I'm going to break down some numbers for you. Game opened up at 6, currently at 4. Okay, so we're going to peel some onions back. The Rams are -3 first half for a 4-point spread. Okay, we'll take it a step further. And this is what I really want to talk about. Full game now. Full game. The Arizona team total opened up 23.5 over 125. That is a hook for the public and the DJs to say, well, I know Murray and company are going to get at least 24. Okay? That's a carrot. Come on, baby. You know you're going to get 24 or better. Okay? The Rams opened at 30 and a hook over 115. Currently, Arizona now is 23.5 over 146. They don't want to move the number. They just want to keep adding the juice. You want to get to 24 or better, it's going to cost you even more. Okay? Rams 30.5 under 131. Okay? So my point very simply is Vegas is telling you this is a 30-23 game all day. Maybe it's a 28-23 game all day. Okay? The point is, this is telling you the Rams is going to supposed to cover this 4 points or better. 100% correct. I am definitely on lean. The Rams, even the first half -3. 4-point favorite, 3-point favorite first half. Give me the Rams there first half. Give me the Rams game. Give me the Arizona team total under 23.5. And give me the +126 on that juice as well.
No, I'm look, you analyze these games differently than I do, and we're on the same side, but we're utilizing the information that we're both good at, right? So So you're analyzing what the market's telling us and telling you, and I'm analyzing what the data points tell us and telling you, and then trying to come up with that story. And I think that we're both on the same side here. So I kind of like that. I think every time that you and I seem to be on the same side on things, it's wet willies to everybody.
The early games, we took the early games off. Nothing really jumped out at us on our circa contest. And actually, you know what? Be a nice guy here. We're 10-5 right now in the circa. And our 5 plays for this week in the circa. 1 second. So everyone can play along with us and say, you didn't give us your circa plays. Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did. Our circa plays for this week: Lions +3, Giants +7.5, Chiefs -7, Seahawks +3, Steelers +6.5. And again, we're 10-5. There was one guy 15-0. Hats off. They pay in quarters as well as $1 million at the end of this. We're hoping for a 5-0, obviously, but 4-1, at least stay above 3-2 to stay in the running for the overall. But that's our 5 plays again: Lions +3, Giants +7.5, Chiefs -7, Seahawks +3, Steelers +6.5. And I'm going to just quickly break down the Tampa and Patriots game here again. It was like 95-98 the whole week, the betting, the money. They haven't moved that number. And we know this at the end of the day, at the 8 o'clock game, when in doubt, they always bet the favorite and the over. Vegas made a stand. All right. If we wanted Patriot money, we're opening up this at 8 or 7.5. They opened it up at 5.5. If there was only one way that number could go: 6, 6.5, 7. Stuck on 7. Now back to 6.5. Let me give you the tea leaves on this game here. Opened at 5.5, currently 6.5. Okay. I'll give you the first half number. Tampa's only -3, 3.5. Okay. Now let's go to the team totals. Tampa opened up 27.5 over 125. Patriots 21.5 under 125. Okay. They're trying to give you the carrot there with Tom and Tampa. Oh, Tom, you're going to get to 28. You're going to get to 30. You're going to get to 31. No problem. And now this. Patriots have not been moving the ball. They're not scoring. There's no James White. Okay. Everything is against them. And they give you a gift here in the public side. Patriots team total is 21.5 under -125. Everyone's running to the window. The Patriots aren't scoring over 21 points. Everyone knows that. Okay. The key to the Patriots covering, very simple: get to 23, get to 24. So what I will tell everyone here, listening, watching, is that I would lean here: Patriots team total over 21.5 plus the 105. I would take the Patriots plus the 6.5, whatever you can get. And I will take the plus 240 as well. Again, the whole world's on it. Listen, egg on our face because, at the end of the game, Tom wins 30-20. I told you so, box the wire. He comes in, he rubs it in Bill's face. I get all that. I get it. Okay. But we read the market here at ECSI, and this is what it's telling us. No one thinks the Patriots are getting over 21 and a hook. I'm telling you, they get to 23 or 24. And I'm also telling you, I got to, if I had to play this game, which we will, and we did, we took the 6.5. Some people bought the hook to 7, and we sprinkled a little pizza and beer money on the plus 240.
No, I'm going to make a comment about that in a second. So you say you weren't on any of the 1 o'clock games. Let me just tell you one of the other plays that I made at 1 o'clock, and then I'll talk to you about that Tampa Bay game. So I played the Indianapolis Colts at the Miami Dolphins under 42.5. So you've got a banged up quarterback for the Colts. You've got a banged up running back for the Colts. You also have the Dolphins with a backup quarterback in the game. This isn't the Raiders defense that Miami's going to face. And Miami Miami's got, in a situation where they've played the Colts before, and this is going to be one of those games. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I would have loved to see 43, but if you can, I don't think it's going to get to that number. What's the number now? The number now is where's Miami at?
I got 42 in the hook.
Yeah, that's what I see. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna change. I don't think it's gonna. I mean, so 42 is not a key number. 43 is more of a key number than 42 in totals. So, I mean, I'm okay with under 40, 42 and a half. So I played that one. But getting to that game that we're talking about here with New England, being someone who is in Tampa, I live in Tampa. The reality is that, Tom Brady is saying all the right things. Gronk's not playing tonight. So, there's only one guy theoretically now with it. And I mean, of course, he's a massive NFL star. I mean, he's been around for 75 million years now. So the reality becomes that, whatever he says and whatever comments that he makes become very public and they're big news. But he has not been one of those guys that blows this up to a point that coming into the game, you could even read anything into that he wants to stick it to Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Now, we both know that he's a very competitive person, and he's going to want to win this game more than he wants to win anybody else. And, in the back of my mind, I keep thinking, Tom Brady's probably, and there's no way he hasn't at this point. He's played forever. He's beaten every single team except for the team he played for. So this might be his only opportunity to beat the New England Patriots. So I think he's going to try to do that, right? But on the same side of that, I agree with what you're saying. This Tampa Bay team currently in current form is not the one that won the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Now, the reason is it's the defense that's causing them issues. You can't sit here and tell me that this team on defense is as stop ridden as they were last year. I mean, they got stops and they played in the championship game, the Super Bowl, right? And they kept the Kansas City Chiefs to under double digits in points. They had Mahomes running all over the place. He was a ghost back there. Like, oh my God, my life has gone before me 8 million times. They're not doing that right now. They're not doing that to the teams that they're playing. And of course, they've played some good teams. I mean, the Rams and the Cowboys are not slouches, and they both have good offenses. But the truth of the matter is, they struggled in allowing the Atlanta Falcons to score points. So if the true defense for Tampa Bay shows up and they get to a point where they're playing stellar football, they're going to beat everybody. But until that happens, they're vulnerable to having slugfest type games, and then them having to cover large spreads is a problem. So anytime that you're looking at Tampa Bay right now, you want to look at the opponent currently in the current situation. And I agree with you that this is going to be one of those spots where don't underestimate what a team total can be for the opponent playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now until they can figure that out. Plus, Pierre Paul's not playing tonight.
And I'm close. No, not officially close, but talk about the fact that, we've talked about this before. Is that the Bucs last year again were a game over 500 till the bye, and then they rattled off the last 5 after the bye, and then the rest is history. And so currently, and when you look at it, they won the last 5 after the bye. Then they won in Washington. They won in New Orleans. They won in Green Bay, and then they won the Super Bowl. So that's 9, and they're 3-0 right now, right? 1, 2, 3.
No, they lost to the Rams.
Oh, they lost to the Rams. I'm sorry. They had won. I'm sorry. You're right. They had won 11 in a row, then lost to the Rams. So I agree with you. This team, mid-season, late season, once the D gets back into form, I'm not saying they have a Super Bowl hangover. They have the right person in place. I don't think enough's getting even said of the fact that the Bucs are coming off a loss. And Tom won't lose, and the Bucks Super Bowl champs won't lose 2 in a row. Well, the Pats are coming off a loss, a game that was dismal again against the Saints that you talked about earlier today. So it's gonna listen. Pats lose, like everyone says they're going to lose. They're going to be 1-3, and they got a tough road ahead of them. They got some, Dallas coming in. They got Cleveland coming in. They got some tough games in front of them. And for the Bucks, obviously Tom wants to win this one, notching his belt. But if they lose, it's just business as usual. Yeah, we've lost the last 2. We're 2-2. No problems. So I think there's more pressure on Tom tonight. But the real pressure is, or I shouldn't say that, which Patriot team is going to show up? And I'm hearing a lot of rumors that the Pats have been holding back. I'm hearing the only way that they can beat this team is with Mac in the shotgun, spread offense, hurry up and go. And I'll be interested to see if we do see that, which, again, Dallas after that first quarter abandoned the run, and that's with Zeke Elliott. Okay. We don't, Damian Harris, we can try to run, but the point is we don't have Stafford and Cooper Kupp tonight. Okay. And those were 15-yard outs to the left side, to the right side. Mac hasn't attempted that often, so we don't have anyone. Oh, N'Keal Harry's back, by the way, puts the fear in God in you guys. I know that. So we have no one that can go to the mailbox and open up. Kendrick Bourne had a great game last week. Will they get to him now? Their possession catcher now is Jacoby Myers. What will the 2 tight end sets do? Jonah could not catch the ball last week. If it was his check, he would have caught it. He probably had a half dozen drops. So it's going to be interesting. I just want everyone here. Hopefully, we've given you some insight. We've given you some ideas of what our eyes are seeing, what your analysis is seeing. You brought up some great points today, Scotty. Give the people some closing thoughts.
Yeah, the rest of my board, Jeff, looks like this. I played. We talked about Indianapolis, Miami under the 42.5 at the 1:00. I played Carolina plus the 4. The 4:00 window seems to be the betting window for me this week. You said the same thing. You kind of liked it. But then I had to figure out what to do with it, right? So that Baltimore-Denver game is very intriguing to me. But I didn't play a side in that game this way. I played it under 44 points. I just don't think that you're going to see a lot of scoring in that game. I think both of them are defensive minded. I think that Teddy Bridgewater, he's the number 1 quarterback in the NFL right now. Did you know that? Yes. So I don't expect it to be that way for, come down the time. But, when you're the number 1 quarterback in the NFL, I tend to think that he's not going to be turnover ridden today. I think he's going to protect the ball, and I think they're going to play safe most of the time. So I like that game under 44. And the New York Giants are playing the New Orleans Saints today. And, there's a lot of people out there thinking that the New York Giants are the right move today. I'm just going to play that game under as well. I don't think the Giants score a lot of points. I think New Orleans is one of those teams that are going to play good defense. They don't have to stop much. The New York Giants have 2 wide receivers out today. Shepard and Slayton are both out. So I kind of like the idea that they're pretty limited. Plus, that running back has been, not the best, and he's been banged up. And I'm sure they're shooting themselves in their foot for drafting him that as high as they did now. But it is what it is, right? So I played, as a professional handicapper, and the things that we're advising. How many times do we actually promote overs, right? We don't promote overs that often. That's what the public does. That's what the guys on Twitter do. And turns out I'm on 3 unders today. And God, everybody hates to be on unders because you got to sit there and you got to go, oh my God, I missed the field goal, or, miss an extra point or whatever. I don't know. You know how it goes. But that's the difference in what we do. And then the last thing that I did, and I'm a fan favorite of this, did a lot of research to get to this point, and I like teasers, but I only like specific ones. And there's and you've seen me give you this before, and there's we kind of joke around about EV positive betting, but when it comes to the numbers, there's only certain things you should be doing when you're making teaser bets. And where a lot of people make the most common mistake is, for example, tonight they're going to put Tampa Bay in 8 million teasers. And the reason they're going to put them in teasers is because they're -6.5, so they can be -0.5 point. The number, there's two things that to be qualified in an EV positive teaser. Number one, that the total for the game has to be 49 or less. That's the number one key. Now, keep that in mind when you're thinking about this. The reason for that is they're already telling you this is going to be a close game. There's going to be low scoring if it's 49 or less. The second rule, never, ever tease down a away favorite. Don't ever do that. There's a reason for that, right? The home dog has a much more success rate of beating that away favorite. So if you tease it down, it doesn't matter. They're going to win outright. So take it from a point of view of don't ever bet an away favorite on a teaser because you're teasing it down. Don't do that. You would be better off to take the home dog and then tease that up than you are going to be is to take an away favorite and tease it down. So don't do that. It's okay to obviously do home favorites or home dogs in those specific things. And then the last golden rule is don't ever take a team that is, say, -3 and flip it so that they become +3. Don't cross 0. I mean, that's just stupid. Don't do that. All right, so those are the 3 golden rules. But the teaser points and all that stuff we can get into at some other time. But the teaser that I took today was I took Atlanta plus the 8 points against the Redskins, and I took Denver plus 7.5. Now this is a 6.5 point teaser, not 6. That's the other thing. Only play 6 or 6.5 point teasers. Don't do 7s. Don't do 8s. Don't do 10s and 13s and stupid stuff. And that's a -130 number. So those are my plays. So just as a recap, Indianapolis and Miami under 42.5, Carolina +4, Baltimore, Denver under 44, Rams -4, Giants and the Saints under 42. These aren't fun to watch, these games that I bet on today. I mean, holy crap. And then the teaser is Atlanta +8 and Denver +7.5.
Crazy. This is our debut to the NFL. We debuted yesterday. Our goal, obviously, here again is just to give you what we're seeing. We're just trying to help you guys what we see, and we got 2 different approaches. But again, it's so great when we come, to the same sides of the games, and then we can talk each other, even though we're. I might be on one side, you might be on another. And again, there's a reason why. We're not the guys betting the overs, like you said on Twitter. And now the fun in games is all the props. And I've never seen anyone like a prop under. You got all these experts now going out doing TikToks and doing all these videos on props, and everyone's over this. And it's just not our cup of tea. It's not why we're here. Myself and yourself, we got combined over 50 years of experience, close to 60 years of sports wagering experience. And we're just, every day, we're trying to, enhance our crafts. That's what we're here for. And so tomorrow we'll come back. We'll review what took place yesterday in the NFL. We'll talk about the Monday wildcard games, the play-in games. We do know this, that the Dodgers will be hosting the Cardinals. I did see an early number from our friend Jeff Sherman at the Superbook that the Dodgers were -200 and the Cardinals were +180. I think.
How close was that to what I gave you?
I think that was.
I don't remember. I think I gave 230 or something like that.
Yeah. So I think the number may be a little less is the fact that Max hasn't been Max the last couple outings. I'm assuming it's going to be Max and Wainwright. That's what I'm assuming, unless the Cardinals move in Flaherty there, which I don't know. Or you could start Wainwright and have Flaherty ready. So we'll see there. But again, we're going to be getting geared up Monday and Tuesday for the MLB playoffs. We'll talk about the NFL game, obviously, on Monday. But as we've had 6 days of shows out of 7 this week here at the Breakfast Bankroll. We've had 2 appearances from Dave Sharapan. We'll have our weekly Friday appearance with Andrew McGinnis from Wager Talk. We're just warming up, guys. That's all we're doing. And our goal is to cash some tickets, obviously, but our goal, more importantly, is to educate, and ask us questions. Send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. Follow us at EC Sports Invest on Twitter, Webby20MLB on Twitter. Scott, closing thoughts.
Hey, it's Sunday, and it's 12 o'clock. My wife is a Halloween banana brain crazy person. So we bought this crazy animated, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of headless Halloween thing. And I've got to set up the whole yard today, this afternoon, and get all the kids all scared in the neighborhood because they come around and go, Miss Lisa, when is your Halloween stuff going to be on display? So there you go, Scott, go put it out. So that's my afternoon, and checking my phone and watching the games, and looking for any times opportunities to maybe bet some live action today.
Everyone here, thank you. It's been an amazing week. Thank you for following us over the weekend and today. If you're wagering today, always wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number, and there's people here to help. Why? Because we care. Okay. Best of luck today. Cash some tickets. Don't get over your skis. Don't be pushing all in on the Sunday night game, as myself and Scott said. Have a blessed day, and we will see you next week.